What we studied so far? We were talking about ritual purifications in Islam. And the purification in Islam, we only need it for specific things. Generally speaking, we have different opinions, but generally speaking, you are not allowed to eat something najis, ritually not pure. You are not allowed to drink something najis. You are not allowed to pray, not supplicate, pray I'm saying. You are not allowed to pray regular salah, yani wajib or mustahab, without being on ritual tahara. So if something got najis, it's not the end of the world. Where I care about najasa, food, what I'm drinking, okay, or salah, tawaf. Is that clear? The tahara, we have two kinds of tahara. We have to purify things that are affected by physical najasa. We call it al-khabath. And we have tahara, purifying agents, to take care of what? For non-physical. For this here, we said, we have limited najis things. What are those? For instance, blood, urine of a human being, blood, urine, stool, okay, all this, we gave it some details of a human being or animals, let's say, with details. For instance, when we talk about urine and stool of a human is najis, from animals we do not consume, it is najis, yani from cats, from lions. We talked about, for instance, the parts of the body of an animal, let's say leather. If it is the animal not slaughtered according to Islamic rules, it will be najis. We talk about so many details, and we said the najasat, they are limited. And mainly, we can see, like, you know, from the animals, for instance, dogs and pigs. Others, they are considered tahir. So if you bring me a lion, you know, tell me, hey, this is najis or tahir, don't bring it to me, okay? This is tahir, okay? If it were to be hunted haram way or slaughtered haram way, then it is najis, okay? While if you talk about impure animals, the only impure animals are dogs and pigs. When it comes to drink, everything is tahir except wine and beer, per very famous opinion. Okay? So we have limited stuff. Do not overcomplicate your life. And those najis will make other najis. So if under two conditions, we said, what are those two conditions? We have to have direct touch, contact, and wetness. So if I touch a dog and the dog is dry and my hand is dry, there is no transfer of najasa. But if my hand were to be, let's say, wet, then the najasa, the ayn al-najasa will transfer from, or the najasa will transfer from the dog to my hand. Why? Direct contact and what? Wetness. So if I have gloves on, the najis will transfer to the glove, not to my hand, unless it absorbs the najasa and touches my skin. So we talk about the najasa and how we clean it up, and we gave examples, okay, whether it is utensils. So, you know, many scholars, they say you clean it up with 3 times, you know, wash it 3 times. Some of them, they say 1 time based on the najasa. If it were to be, you know, a dog eating from your dish, let's say, or a plate, then the scholars will say, in addition to water, you have to wash it first with sand, then add water to it, wash it, and then you add, you know, water washes to it later on. So we have multi-washing. Okay, you cannot just wash it once in certain circumstances. A pig. So you go to a restaurant, they are offering, pork. Okay, some scholars, they might tell you, hey, you have to wash this plate 3 times. What if they don't? Can I eat from that place, for instance? Okay, so we went through all these details. The idea is, as we have najis things, they transfer najasa, we have purifiers. Okay, so what are those purifiers now? Clear the map. We have physical najis, we have non-physical najis. Physical najis are listed as we discussed them before. Okay, and those physical najis, if you are in touch with them, direct contact, and they were wet, they transfer what? Impurity, they say. Okay, and for that purpose we have what? Purification agent. One of the important purification agents is what? Water. Okay, we just gave example of it. Some scholars, you can see, more details about that. Like they add, for instance, many scholars, they add to that, for instance, the sun. If the sun shines on a ground and it has najas and evaporated, that becomes tahir. We went through so many purification examples. We have the sun, we have the water, we have even earth itself in certain circumstances, and just name it. We talk about istihala, we talk about intiqal. Istihala means the whole entity changed to totally different subject. We call it istihala. We talk about al-intiqal, means, the blood went from your body to a mosquito. Now that blood becomes what? Tahir. We talk about al-inqilab, which is, some scholars, they say, one phases of istihala is when we have wine transfer into vinegar. It continues its fermentation. So we are done from all this. Then after finishing the physical tangible najas and how to clean yourself from them or other objects, we talked about non-physical najas. What are those non-physical najas? The most important, we have 2 kinds. We have al-hadath, we call it in Arabic al-hadath. Okay? We have al-asghar and we have al-akbar. Al-asghar, that means it requires wudu or tayammum. Okay, but usually we talk about wudu here because tayammum is common factor. Tayammum, I'm sorry, wudu. So you want to pray, you have to be on tahara. La salah would be la salata illa bi tahur. You have to be pure. Pure, not physically only. Plus you have to be non-physically pure. Yani if you tell me, Sheikh, I just took a shower, my clothes are clean, everything is 100% clean, can I pray? You have to make wudu. If you do not make wudu, your salah is not accepted. You have to make it up. Is that clear? Yeah. So this is, we call it al-hadath, al-asghar, because, you are not on wudu. Or it could be hadath al-akbar. That means here you require ghusl. So when I say al-asghar, that means you were in the state of purity. Sorry. You were on the state of purity. Good? And you went through invalidators that ruin your purity. And those are related to things. One, you use the restroom. You use the restroom, let's say 1 or 2, okay? Number 1 or 2. That will invalidate your wudu, state of purity. That we call it hadath. You did something that invalidated what? Your wudu. Okay? Using the restroom, passing wind, sleeping, okay? Even if it were to be, let's say, for 1 minute, in a way you did not hear any more thing or see any more things. Okay? 5th is what? The other one, it would be what? Istihada. Okay? So this here, we mentioned that in details. I don't know if it's here. Give me 1 second so I can show it to you. Because we discussed that before. Here. So we went through this. I don't know if you can see it. I'm zooming in here. You can see that. So we said, if there is hadath asghar, that means you ruined the state of wudu, it will be ruined by one of these, or all of them. So we said urine, we said, stool, we said passing wind, we said, sleeping, we said anything that will make you unconscious. And the last one will be al-istihada. And it has different opinions now, whether it is light or intermediate or heavy. So this is what's going to make us do wudu. We are done from this. And then we talk about how to perform wudu. Any questions here? Yes?
So you mentioned if restaurants serve pork, for example, if they wash it 3 times, I thought that rule of utensils is only for...
Not utensils, more than utensils. I'm talking about, maybe my word utensils is not accurate.
Like plates and stuff.
Plates like and pots, dishes.
I thought it's only if like a pig or a dog eats from it, not if it touches it. Yeah.
That's different rule. No.
So
that's different.
If you have
khamr in the cup, okay, is it enough to wash it 1 time? So you have different opinions. Even if you use core water. So you have different opinions. You follow your scholar. Okay? Now, after talking about wudu, now we have al-wudu. We talk about how to perform wudu. We talk about the conditions of wudu. You are not allowed to let others make wudu for you if you are healthy and you are capable. You are not allowed to make wudu if the water is stolen. Okay, you are not allowed to make wudu if you have something that prevent water reaching your skin that you have to wash or wipe per the famous opinion. And we talk about how to handle that in case you have a broken hand, what we call wudu al-jabir. This is ahkam al-jabira. We talk about it. Okay? So let's say you have a cut, small cut. If the blood stops, you just wash it, but clean it up, and then you make wudu, you are all set. If you have to have it wrapped, and there is no other way, if you can wait, for instance, little bit, so the blood can stop, and it's okay to let the water reach that wound, without letting the time of the salah, elapses, then what? Then you can wait for a little bit and make wudu and pray. If no, it has to stay there because I have stitches and the doctor told me do not let the water reach that area. I wash my hand. When I come to here, I just wipe it without washing it. But the rest is washed. I'm all set. Okay, if the wrap is najis, you can put another one on it to make it tahir, and another tahir one to make the wiping on a tahir surface. Is that difficult? Questions? Let's say after I made wudu, I start seeing, bleeding in my finger or in my gum. Does it invalidate my wudu? We said, no, this is not one of the invalidators. Or a person is vomiting. Does it invalidate wudu? No. So you have, or a dog start licking my hand. Does that invalidate my wudu? No, but you have to wash it before salah. Any questions? Now another thing about wudu is about a shak. And this is also we discussed, and I'm going to go over it quickly. I made wudu, but then I start doubting. Did I invalidate that wudu or not? Did I use the restroom or not? Did I fall asleep or not? Is my wudu still valid or not? What do you consider it? valid. This is, we call it istishab. What do we call it? Istishab. يعني you go with the first certain, you go with the first state, okay, that is certain. I am certain I made wudu. The other is questionable. I do not know whether I used the restroom or not. Then you consider what? No. Because that question is a doubt. The certainty is what? I made wudu. This is istishab, we call it. And istishab can be very helpful, not just in wudu, in so many things in our life. As fiqh wise, we're talking, okay? Not as IRS, or payments, or medication. No. Well, I'm not sure if I take my medicine or not. I use istishab, that's a different story. I'm talking about fiqh. يعني الفقهاء, they take into consideration ما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج when they go over the proofs and evidence. Okay? So it is something legitimate. It's not something invented. I am 100% sure, okay, I did not make wudu. I'm sure I did not make wudu. Then I start doubting, did I make wudu or not? After I used the restroom. What do you consider? I did not make wudu. Because the certainty is what? I did not make wudu. Then I usually go to the restroom and I make wudu. But I'm not certain. What do I say? You did not make wudu. The first example, I'm sure I made wudu. I performed wudu. But then I doubt whether I used the restroom or not. What do I consider? I did not make wudu. The second one, I'm sure I've never done wudu today. But my habit usually, after I use the restroom, I make wudu. I perform wudu. Do you have a proof? No. So what do you consider? Invalid. Make wudu. Clear. Third scenario. Well, a person is walking, sitting, whatever, and I have a doubt. Did that guy, for instance, did that guy, his own wudu, did he pass wind or not? Can you say, Wallahi, it happened? No. So you consider what? No. Or I felt something in my stomach, moving, up and down. If you doubt whether that happened or not, what do you consider? It did not happen. Any question about this? This is all based on one rule. We call it what? Istishab. So the other part would be about tayammum. I cannot make wudu. It's freezing out there, negative 30 degrees. And the water is freezing to death, okay? And if I make wudu, I might die, because I'm so sick. What should I do in this situation? I go back to sleep? No, I make tayammum. Okay, we'll discuss tayammum in a bit. Another thing, I have a broken hand and it is wrapped now. What do we call it? Very good. So what am I going to do here? In addition to I wash it, then I wipe it, okay, as I discussed before, it is always good idea to make tayammum after that. Because if the hukum is tayammum, you did tayammum. If the hukum is wudu, you did wudu. So you are safe. Always whenever you have obstacles like this on your hand or face, or something you cannot remove at all from your skin, what do? Wudu and tayammum. So now how we're going to make tayammum? How are we going to make tayammum? And what are the causes of tayammum? And reasons for tayammum. Assalamu alaikum. How we can make tayammum? And what are the reasons of this? That's inshallah what we are going to be discussing in our next session. Now we move on for الحدث الأكبر. Hadath al-Akbar is opposite to it is more critical than al-Hadath al-Asghar. Hadath al-Asghar, if something happened, like those invalidators of wudu, you go make wudu. Sometimes, no, it requires more than wudu. You have to make what? Ghusl. And that ghusl, here I have to, stop a little bit. It's very important. يعني بيجي واحد والله because his friend, he considered his marja like Friday ghusl. Ghusl means a ritual shower. A ritual shower. His marja said, for instance, Friday ghusl is sufficient. You don't have to make wudu. Okay. Wallah, he starts doing the same thing. But your scholar does not agree with that. Like Sayyid al-Khu'i, Sayyid Sistani, for instance, they say, al-ghusl al-mustahab yughni an al-wudu. Some other maraja, like Sayyid Ali, they say, no, does not. Does not. So, a person, Sheikh, which is more, which is cleaner? To take a shower or do wudu? Habib, if you take 25 showers, you do not do wudu, your invented shower is not sufficient. Why? That's the law. I did not create this law. It is a way to organize our life, because if everyone start inventing something, we have no more laws. In any city now, we have guidelines. You have to stick to the rules, to those guidelines. Because if there is no platform and you do not follow the guidelines in that platform, the city will be based on random actions and no ordinance, isn't it? Imagine now, we have a speed limit is 50. And every person, 50, 65, 70, 80, 25, what's going to happen to? We have more incidents. In certain places here, we might know the wisdom behind the fatwa. Sometimes the wisdom is not that clear to some people. So, having a nice shower that is not recommended and not wajib does not mean wudu is sufficient. Does not mean you don't have to make wudu or perform wudu. No, totally different things. So keep in mind, for instance, al-ghusl al-mustahab also. What's a ghusl al-mustahab? Ghusl al-mustahab, that means you are certain it is mustahab. Fi mustahab, we have something in fiqh. I don't know how much time we have left. We have something in fiqh, we call it رجاء المطلوب، مش بالفقه، بعلم بالأصول، وعندنا شيء اسمه رجاء المطلوبية والتسامح في أدلة السنن. What are those? رجاء المطلوبية والتسامح في أدلة السنن. I discussed this before, because this is fiqh, and also inshallah we'll discuss hadith. This is very important. What is التسامح في أدلة السنن ورجاء المطلوبية? For instance, I have hadith that said it is recommended, for instance, to pray Salat al-Ghufayla. Okay? So, some scholars, they say, this hadith, according to my school of thought, to my methodology, is hadith da'if. Therefore, Salat al-Ghufayla, it is not mustahab as an authentic way. Some other scholars, they say, based on my methodology, Salat al-Ghufayla is hadith sahih al-sanad. Good? So what should I do in this situation? Khalas, disregard al-mustahab? So we have a group of scholars here. They say, the first group, they will say, if you are certain this is not mustahab, that means the sanad is not authentic, not authentically mustahab means what? The sanad, the transmission of the narration is what? Not authentic. Yani we have one of the narrators at least weak or not trustworthy. So what should I do in this? Can I say this is sanad sahih? It's not sanad sahih, not mu'tabar, more generic terminology. So should I disregard this salah? So we have scholars, they say, when it comes to mustahab, you don't care about sanad. Whether it is right or wrong, you don't care about it. That's the first opinion. And this is, they call it التسامح في أدلة السنن. يعني something mustahab, don't look at, ignore its what? Narration, a chain of narrations. That's one group. Second group, they say no. If something, it is not mustahab by ilm al-hadith terminologies, that means the sanad is da'if, you cannot call it mustahab. So what should I do in this situation? They say, in case you want to perform it, you say, بِرَجَاءِ الْمَطْلُبِيَّة. يعني maybe God will, what? بِرَجَاء مَطْلُبِيَّةِ الثَّوَابِ. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will offer me good hasanat. Maybe it is weak hadith, but it is not a wrong concept. Maybe it's something Allah likes. But it happened, it was narrated to us through weak hadith. Could that happen? It could. Okay? So rather than ignoring it, you say, I do it برجاء what's رجاء المطلوبية? يعني there is a chance maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give me reward, credit, because I'm putting extra effort. Okay? We have another hadith, another opinion. They say, but if it is, I'm fine with Raja al-Matlubiyya. He will say, I'm fine with it. But if you are certain there is no hadith behind it, يعني a riwayah showed up after 500 years. No one talked about it before. يعني Sheikh al-Saduq did not talk about it. Sheikh al-Mufid did not talk about it. Sheikh Murtada al-Huda did not talk about it. Even Sheikh al-Tusi did not talk about it. We don't have any hadith in al-Kafi or al-Istibsar, Man la yahdaru al-Faqih, al-Tahdhib. All these good books that we have, 4 important resources of Shia, never mentioned. All of a sudden, let's say in 700 Hijri, we start seeing this riwayah. What should I say here? Can I say this is mustahab? They say if it is certain, and you are certain that this is no hadith for it, and it was fabricated, how you are going to ask for Raja al-Matlubiyya? They say they understand Raja al-Matlubiyya seeking credit if you doubt. But if I'm certain that this is someone lied or took it from an invented story, how are you going to say Raja al-Matlubiyya? It's like something, it's fake news and you keep spreading it. Is that right? So this is the third opinion. And that's why they stopped those people, those scholars. They stopped when you tell them, so for instance, Laylat al-Ragha'ib. They will tell you, we have no hadith about it. It is invented most likely by Sufis, they say. So why you want to do it? But if you tell him Salat al-Ghufayla, they say, yeah, do it. Why? Biraja al-Matlubiyya, because we have hadith about it. We have hadith, but it is weak according to some scholars. You do it like Raja al-Matlubiyya. You consider it 2 rak'ah of recommended nafila. We call it nafila. We have 4 rak'ah nawafil after Salat al-Maghrib. 2 rak'ah each like Salat al-Subh. You consider it one of them. But anyway, it is mustahab to pray 2 rak'ah, then 2 rak'ah. So this is the idea of التسامح في أدلة السنن, and we have what? برجاء المطلوبية. Is that clear? This is in a very simple way. I'm simplifying it. Some scholars, they took it further. They say it's not about mustahab, also about makruh. Some weird opinion they used, weird opinion I call it, they used التسامح في أدلة السنن not just in السنن, in عقائد. They say if we read in an old book something about Aqidah, even if the hadith is not authentic at all, we consider it what? Under the rule of تسامح في أدلة السنة. Where did we get this from? What's the rule behind this idea? Anybody knows? Why this? And even Sunni school of thought. So they have something similar, kind of, when it comes to al-fada'il or virtues. They will tell you why you should look at, sanad. Where did we get this rule from? Anybody knows? Yes? No? Maybe? No? Where do we get this? This comes from a qaida. Inshallah, we'll study it later on in more details. We call it قاعدة من بلغ. من بلغ. Okay. Let me see if I can find it for you here quickly.
So the third opinion that you mentioned, the scholars say don't do it bil marra.
Yeah. If it is
Hadith weak.
if it has no base at all.
Oh, it has no base. So if it's a weak hadith, then don't say reject.
Yeah.
But even if it doesn't have a base, if it's good to do it, why don't we do it? It's مش على intention إنه مستحب.
So I'm going to show you a couple here, please. Okay, this is one of the... I'm sorry. What happened here?
I think you have to switch the HDMI back. Because it turned off and switched to... but you have to go to that.
So, we have this hadith, Ali bin Ibrahim, ثقة, عن أبي إبراهيم بن هاشم, ثقة at least for Sayyid al-Khu'i, عن ابن عمير, definitely ثقة, okay, عن هشام بن سالم, ثقة. So this hadith is what? صحيح السند. What does it say? عن أبي عبد الله means Imam al-Sadiq, قال من سمع شيئا من الثواب. You heard something, if you do it you will get what? Good deeds. من سمع شيئا من الثواب على شيء فصنعه. يعني you heard, for instance, mustahab to put, to wear عقيق. Wearing عقيق is mustahab by authentic hadith. But I'm giving an example. So if you hear about something mustahab, so when you heard about it, you want to get closer to Allah. Because, this is hasanat, free, credit. Extra credit, isn't it? Like when you are at school, don't you like extra credit to get an A? So this is like extra credit for me. So سمع شيئا من سمع شيئا من الثواب على شيء فصنعه. يعني you went ahead and started doing it. كان له. You will get that ثواب. You will get that hasanat, even though it was, later on, you figure out it was what? Baseless or wrong. Or, not authentic. من سمع شيئا من الثواب على شيء فصنعه كان له شو؟ ثواب. وإن لم يكن على ما بلغه. Okay? Well, this is one of the riwayat some scholars they depend on. So the faqih here, they will look, they will say, see, this is our ticket. Some scholars they say no, until you assumed the Prophet said that. Mish after you know for a fact that the Prophet did not say it. Is that clear? As we discussed, the farq, we said we have التسامح في أدلة السنن, we have برجاء المطلوبية, we have to stop here if it is made up 100%. So they say, if I read this hadith, what I understand from it, you thought the Prophet said, do it this way, and you did it. You figure out later on, no, it was wrong. Allah will never discredit you. And this is common sense. But some scholars, they took it further than that. We have another hadith, but this is hadith ضعيف السند. Do you know why it's ضعيف السند? محمد بن يحيى عن محمد بن حسين عن محمد بن سنان عن عمران الزعفراني عن محمد بن مروان قال سمعت أبا جعفر من إمام الصادق يقول من بلغه ثواب من الله على عمل فعمل ذلك العمل التماس ذلك الثواب أوتيه وإن لم يكن الحديث كما بلغه. Okay? This is ضعيف السند at least because of Muhammad bin Sinan. Muhammad bin Sinan ضعيف. Okay? According to Sayyid Khuwi. Any question about this?
I just had a question about so we either do an act of worship. مثلا نقول صلاة الجمعة for women is مستحب. So we either do it في التسامح في أدلة السنن أو we do it برجاء المطلوبية. For صلاة الجمعة for women, you have to choose one or the other, correct?
I did not get your question. How it's related to this? أنت عم تحكي عن something واجب. We're talking about something here مستحب.
No, صلاة الجمعة.
Yeah, we're talking about something wajib for some people. Okay? For some people, that is wajib.
For men, it's wajib.
Yes.
But for women, I understand.
That has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the other riwayat. We get it from different riwayat. Yes, we have some riwayat said that it's better to be at home. But we have another concepts. This is because of a sitr. Has nothing to do. And if there is sitr available, and there is more education and more learning, and you get more spiritual enhancement, it is common sense to be there, not at home.
What should the intention be?
The intention, I'm here for the sake of قربة إلى الله تعالى, because this is something Allah loves. نحن عم نحكي عن something, عم نحكي عن something, there is a رواية but ضعيفة السند. It has totally different idea. Like Salat al-Raghaib, we don't have hadith sahih sanad at all. It is something, يعني معنا مثلا, يعني like Salat al-Wahsha. I mean, how come Salat al-Wahsha is not, they say, how come it is not mentioned in Al-Kulayni, in Tahzib al-Ahkam, al-Istibsar, من لا يحضره الفقيه? How come it was not famous? How come it showed way after those big scholars?
Okay, if you want to pray برجاء المطلوبية أو
Yes, but when it comes, I did not finish this. So we said تسامح في أدلة السنن. We said برجاء المطلوبية. We said if you are certain it is not accurate, you do not do it. We have another opinion. They say even if it were to be برجاء المطلوبية, but if it's gonna become something like people they think it is religious things, then you are creating bid'ah. Some scholars they say. So I know for a fact I have no hadith about it, but people invented something. So and I start doing it and I tell people this is mustahab. If you are saying it is mustahab and you know it's not a mustahab, that's a problem. If you are doing it because it could be mustahab, because you read a riwayah, ruwiya, you read the hadith, ruwiya, there is a chance. Okay? But if insisting on doing it, then I might create something similar as they say, okay, to bid'ah. Because something, it's not from religion, you are making it a religion because you know the riwayah is mursala and it showed up after 500 years. It's not like close to the time of the ma'soom, the source. And this is here, you have different opinions and different approaches, but the best approach is to do it برجاء المطلوبية, as long as does not become a portion of religious fact or phenomena. Okay, so we do it برجاء المطلوبية. So this is now the story of رجاء المطلوبية. Inshallah we'll talk about it more later on. This is another one, but this is ضعيف يعني. This is ضعيف Ali bin Musa. Questions about this here? Yes.
What's the difference between bid'ah and raja al-matlubiyya?
البدعة, someone invented something and Islam did not even talk about. That's bid'ah. Raja al-matlubiyya, we have riwayah, but we do not know whether it is accurate riwayah or not. Sahih, we know it is ضعيف السند, but it, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. Raja al-matlubiyya, you are doing something because of a riwayah. You think maybe it has a credit, though the riwayah is ضعيف السند. It's not something I invented. You get the idea?
So what's the problem? Someone invented something that's good, but it's not mustahab. We don't say.
You cannot say this is Islam, because you are not مشرع. ثم جعلناك على شريعة من الأمر فاتبعها. Islam is not what you prefer, what he prefers. يعني مثلا نحن there is a dua. I like to recite it on Tuesday or Wednesday. The dua is very good dua, and from Ahl al-Bayt, and it's Sahih al-Sanad. So I decide to recite it on Wednesday. You have no right to say it is mustahab to recite it on Wednesday. Who are you?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's mustahab, but what's the problem?
So let's say after 700 years from the Imam time, someone said, you know, I find it mustahab to say this dua on Thursday, on Wednesday. Who are you? You have to have what? A proof. This is, oh, you want to do it as Raja al-Matlubiyya, fine, maybe. Maybe he has a riwayah I did not know. But if I am certain he had no riwayah, then why you aren't doing Raja al-Matlubiyya?
It's a nice dua. I can do it when I want.
Yeah, but you cannot, I'm talking about timing it, not the dua. Timing the dua. I have no... You get the difference?
Yeah, it's a nice dua. I want to recite it on Wednesday, but now
You can recite, you can invent a dua and recite it. You can invent your own dua as long as it fits Ahl al-Bayt teaching and the Quran. But the problem, can you say this dua, it is to your friend, it's mustahab to recite it this time?
no.
Or when you have a problem because it happened, it solved your problem? Can you?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Al-bid'ah, if you bring something Ahl al-Bayt did not talk about, and you say, no, it is mustahab. Who are you? Or it's wajib. Who are you? Okay, but the dua by itself, it is good dua. No one is claiming it. As long as it fits the doctrine of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, and the teachings of the spirit of the Quran, we say. Does not contradict that. Yes?
Can you give us an example of when we would do something like a Qasana, and then Raja al-Matlubiyya? Like, I just want to see how you apply it. Like, what's the difference? I don't know if there's any examples.
Yeah, we do some examples. For instance, you will hear, I'm going to give you typical examples related to ours, okay? Hey, I usually talk to the computer. So we have, sometimes they say, Wallah, it is mustahab. I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to take extra step just it's a little bit slow, but. So I want you to look at this carefully, please. Al-Muqaddimah, okay. Let's pick something else. So if you open Minhaj al-Salihin, Al-Muqaddimah, okay. So So remember that. I'm going to come back to this. What does it say? I'm going to zoom in here. So I want you to read this here quickly. And this is very important. Can you read this? Can you read it? Okay. So what does it say? This is Sayyid al-Khou'i, Sayyid Sistani, most of the, Minhaj al-Salihin is a book was done, not Minhaj al-Salihin, Risala al-Amaliyya is a book was done with one of our scholars. And then whenever there is a mujtahid, they come back to that template and they change it based on their opinion and approaches. Okay? So this is a template has been there for a while. So usually when you open a Minhaj al-Salihin, for instance, Sayyid al-Khou'i or, Sayyid Sistani here, there is this statement. This is very important statement. Usually people, they do not see it. Mas'ala 32. Rulings 32. إن كثيرا من المستحبات المذكورة في أبواب هذه الرسالة يبتنى استحبابها على قاعدة التسامح في أدلة السنن ولما لم تثبت عندنا فيتعين الإتيان بها برجاء المطلوبية. يعني to me as Sayyid Sistani, to Sayyid al-Khou'i, to Sayyid Ali, Sayyid Muhammad for instance, to them there is nothing called قاعدة التسامح في أدلة السنن. I don't believe in it. Everything has to go through what? علم الحديث. Okay, channel, methodologies, approaches. But you can do it as what? برجاء المطلوبية. وكذا الحال في المكروهات فتترك برجاء المطلوبية وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. يعني in other words, the marja' here is saying, when I talk about mustahab or makruh, I did not dig into it and prove whether it is really mustahab or really makruh. I just use that template from previous scholars and I put it. So whenever you see mustahab or makruh, that does not mean I investigated this. I don't have time for it. So you do it برجاء والمطلوبية. So when you see in the Risala mustahab makruh, does not mean there is hadith. It could be. So, but there are certain things al-fuqaha or some fuqaha, they investigated those. Like Sayyid al-Khou'i, because al-ghusl will affect your salah, and al-ghusl according to him يغني عن الوضوء, whether it is wajib or mustahab, he had to prove whether the mustahab ghusl is really mustahab or not. But other stuff, did he investigate over? I mean in general I'm talking. Okay? So, are you clear with this?
Do any big scholars do tasamuh fi adillat as-sunnah?
Some scholars, they have tasamuh.
It's not the well-known ones.
So if you want to read it in English, I don't know how weird it is. They say, question, it's not a question, it's ruling 32. Okay, many of the recommended acts mentioned in this chapters, which is Risala al-Amaliyya, yani, my fatawa, of this Risala, based on the principle of tolerance and the evidence of the Sunnah. This is now, we call it tolerance. التسامح في أدلة السنن means I ignore the sanad. بتسامح فيه, يعني خلص, I ignore it. I'm easy going with this. I'm easy going. So anything has to do with recommended or makruh, okay, it's based on التسامح في أدلة السنن, ignoring the chain of narrations. But because since I, the scholar here, they say, Sayyid Sistani, Sayyid al-Khou'i, I do not believe in that method. I do not believe in tasamuh fi adillat al-sunan. So please, when you perform any mustahab or makruh, you use what? برجاء المطلوبية. Hope you might get good حسنات. Questions? So لما نحن بنفتح مفاتيح الجنان for instance بنقرا مستحب 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 does not mean it is really مستحب. We do it برجاء المطلوبية, and some of them maybe has no base at all. And the best mustahab is the one that we know for a fact it is what? Authentic. And that's why I have a book. Some people, they may not like it, but I have a book just to filter out what is really mustahab, what's really not mustahab. Inshallah, if you want, I can get you some copies. Okay? So this is the story behind Raja al-Matlubiyya. تسامح في أدلة السنن. Any question here? Question? So we talk about al-ghusl. Inshallah, this is our next session. Are we done here, please? So we can keep some time for questions.